Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Mr. Secretary,
Yeah, thanks.
can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll call them off, tell them if I'm missing anybody, but, Bert,
Fair here.
Pat,
Here.
Laura, she's not here.
Excused.
I'm here. Alan, Bert, he's, yes. Robin
Yes.
and Judy.
Here.
Okay, and then, Ted's here.
Yep.
Mark's here
Yes. Hey,
and Richard's not here.
No.
Okay. Is that it?
hands here.
And visiting and, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. And that's the approval of the June 13th minutes. I normally ask if there's any changes or additions, and there isn't any, but I have one. It says in here with regards to the bathrooms, that is the discussion from last month, and we're also talking about it this month. I thought it should be clarified. It says that there was an additional person hired to help with maintaining the restrooms, and I think we now know that that's not exactly what happened. Somebody got reassigned. Then they didn't hire a brand new person.
We did hire another person.
What?
So do you want to talk about that now? We don't have to
Well-
clarify in the minutes. I thought there's gonna be other conversations.
I'm not sure how we clarify it in the minutes.
Well, the
It
thing,
is true there was an additional person hired, so that is factually correct.
I think what came up in the discussion last month, Dan, was that that person wasn't hired strictly for the bathrooms on the golf basement. And
Oh, no.
that's what they were worried about in the minutes, was that,
Right.
you know, someone was hired, but it wasn't just for that. They had many duties to do.
Yes, but it
Yes.
allowed us to redistribute, so we
Right.
now have a dedicated person that is assigned the 2 times for each of the 2 units.
Yeah, that was the only discussion was.
So that's.
Yeah.
It gave us more
So
resources.
would you say that we could leave the minutes as they are?
Yes.
Okay, 0. We have no change. All right, the next item is the election of the vice chair. Do we need a motion for that? Anybody?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yeah, you do.
Somebody make a motion to, have Pat Iaculo elected as vice chair. Somebody make a motion.
I'll move.
All right,
second,
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No.
I think we have to kind of vote for him. He brought a club with him to the meeting, so I think, you know, that's kind of thing. He was gonna take it serious if he didn't get voted in.
The second item is,
Yeah.
the second item is the election of the secretary with like a motion to elect Lori Krell as secretary. Motion. Seconded. Second, all in favor? Say aye. Opposed? No. All right, she is elected.
who is that?
Sorry,
Okay.
Lori. Chair's report, I have nothing except to thank Pat for standing in for me while I was away. And appreciate it. Well, good to know that I can always call on you. I'm away, and I'm away a lot. I know. I found out. Correspondence and announcements, I am not aware of any. Member forum, we have.
I'm just a visitor.
Okay. So we have nobody in the member forum, so Mr. Bentley.
Okay, not a whole bunch of changes. They're still working on the bridge. The bridge and the pool liner is still under the investigation piece of it. And so I don't really have anything to move forward on that. Pickleball bids have all come in, but they're being looked at and to make sure that all the bids are covering all the bases of the project. And once that is determined that the bids are good, there's a couple of bids that are kind of floating to the top. And they will be presented to the planning committee, hopefully in August. And then go to finance and then go on up to the board. So at our next meeting that we have, I'll have more information on the progress of what's happening there with that. But that's about all I have.
Were there a lot of bids? How many?
We had 3.
3? Pretty good.
Yeah, it was by invitation, so it was almost like a certified bidder list of contractors that have worked successfully.
Okay, very good.
Does that mean then we're getting closer to having the, rerouting of the, water line take place?
All of that is part of the project. We reported on it on this.
You know,
All right, we'll move on to the club reports. Robin? Container?
Okay, I don't have much because our board meeting's on Monday again. We still have 131 members. 21 of those are new members and 14 are sponsored. We've had just our regular play days for this last month. And the only other thing I had was the bathroom update, so I'm not sure where we want to talk about that.
We can talk about that as we get to the, new business.
Okay. Old business.
Yeah, it says new business.
Okay.
That's it? Okay, Judy?
Okay, but we have 161 members. And we just finished team play, which was just with 4 teams, and we were in first place, but after the last session, I think I understood we were in second place, but that's not too bad. So we have a tournament championship coming up at the end of July, and there's 2 sections, one from the red tees and one from the gold tees. Ones from the red tees will go on to tournament of champions for Winga, and the gold tees will just get a trophy. That's all. We have a general meeting coming up July 24th. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Pat?
thank you. The men's club membership is now with 316 active members. That includes 19 resident guests. In addition to that, we sponsored 3 golf shop professionals. So the total would be 3 plus 319. July schedule includes our monthly twilight event on July 25th. See tournaments known as the Ross versus Moore on July 16th and the Mad Scramble on July 23rd. It's an interesting combination of events there. We were also attending away events at the San Jose Country Club for the first time on July 15th, and then over to Moraga on the 31st. Additionally, we've played a home tournament with Richmond, Moraga, and Discovery Bay this past Wednesday on the 9th. The RMGC prepared this is what we started to talk about, a golf course restroom conditions punch list, and we provided it to Mark for his review and recommended for presentation to the board. And then lastly, the RMGC board approved a second first tee tournament this year. And together with Mark Heftig, it'll be agreed that it'll be played on the Dollar Ranch course on Sunday afternoon, September 7th, with the more experienced first tee players. The men's side helps. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Kurt, the Hackers?
Thank you. Hackers have 140 members at present. And we are going to have our July scramble on the 19th. And one thing about, I mentioned, we're still trying to figure out how to do wait lists, stuff like that. And we had decided no wait list, and then a wait list showed up. And so at our board meeting last night, we have decided we're going to adopt the twilight model all the way. We're just going to mirror the twilight. And so there won't be a wait list, there won't be an early start, there won't be any of that. We'll just do it. You know, somebody can't make it, there's no refunds, they can find somebody to take their place. But I think that consistency across the clubs, I think, is beneficial to everybody, including for you. So that is now we have officially adopted the Twilight model since Judy works on both, it'll be really easy for her to do that for us, so. And, then we did have some comments on the course condition. I just emailed them to you.
Perfect, sure, unless there's something you want to bring up to the group here, but yeah, either way, you can do that. Yeah, but yeah, if you have comments, let me know.
Maybe we could bring them up because I asked the month before last that if any comments were filtering up, is to let us know and what your members might be. So, yeah, what are the comments?
Remember, these aren't coming from me, so these are probably things that come every day, but people were mentioning the sogginess of number 2 on the dollar, always being soggy around the green. One mention was the consistency of handicap sign. Doesn't seem to be one. They seem to pop up sometimes somewhere and other times they're non-existent, and so people are confused on where to take handicap carts. And the third one was, there's a bunch of holds this is Creekside. There are a bunch of holds unmarked around the number of sand traps that are ankle breakers. And there was a request that those be marked somehow.
Is that by the oak tree?
Yeah.
Right down there, yeah, it's kind of,
Around the sand traps is what they mentioned.
yeah.
Number 4 Creekside. That was it.
Hey, well, thank you very much. That's good input. All right, staff reports, Mark.
Okay, we'll start with my report and I will start off with I'm sorry, because I didn't have all the numbers when I did my report, so I was kind of guessing, and you'll see on there that I do believe we're still on the pace to do 70,000, but I mentioned that I estimate about 7,800 rounds, but when the report came out, it's more like 7,400 or right around there. So I was a little off in my adding machine, I guess, but still, we're in good shape for the month in rounds. That's still a nice number. May was a little higher than June. We'll see what July does. Generally, July, August can be down a little bit because we get warmer temperatures. Like today, we'll be very busy in the morning. This afternoon, not as much, which certainly wasn't true in May and June. So we'll see what happens in July. Still, we're at over 36,000 rounds, 10% above last year, which in any business is a good number to be over 10% higher than you have been the year before. And again, last year was a good year. So the main thing I like about the report though in rounds is that you go down the categories, whether it's the golf cards, the resident fees, sponsored guest fees, weekday or weekend, they're all up. There isn't one that is down. All categories are up. So that's really positive, I think. Golf shop numbers are very good. When you look at the let's go to receipts for the golf course too. Now over $1 million, whether it's the budget number or last year, we're up quite a bit in those categories. So that's always an important number for the board to see that we are holding our own, if not doing better there with a budget change of 14.2%. As far as the golf shop's doing outstandingly well. You see the numbers down there in the page 3 for golf shop receipts. 26% increase over last year. The big numbers are clubs, outstanding there with, big change there. Also menswear, women's wear. The only thing we're kind of lagging in is probably golf bags. So we'll see if we can sell some more golf bags this next couple of months. But other than that, all categories are doing well. That includes the rental carts, lessons, driving range. Everything is looking very good. So I'm happy with our results there. They're outstanding. Things we tried this last month just for fun. Thought I would highlight those. I gave a beginner's clinic to some of the hackers. The participation, the sign up was okay, a little light, but I think everybody had a nice time and it was a good opportunity to get some of them out on the golf course and go over rules and just how to speed up play, how to take care of the golf course, things like that. We had a nice time out there one evening. We have distributed now over 200 repair tools. I've had those at the front counter. Many of the people are picking them up, not sure they know what that is, but they see free and they pick one up. But we're trying to let them know how to use that tool and to be a good guardian of the golf course and take care of it. So that's good. We hosted first time ever an NCGA seniors event. I was, over the winter asked by the NCGA, would we hold an event here? It's a point event, which I don't know if you know that, but beyond the NCGA events we do, they also have competition at the NCGA level for amateurs. And so they came in on a Monday and had their event. It was very popular with the players. Nice for us because we didn't have to do much and still collected nice fees. I mean, they didn't have any lunch. They did not have an event afterwards, so it took nothing away from the event center or anything else. They came in and played golf and they went home. And it's a point event. They're looking to do another one next year, and I would have no problem with that. So it was nice income and good for us to have. Also, I think it's good for people that are players that play a lot, play different golf courses, coming to Rossmore and seeing it. It's just another avenue for people to discover Rossmore. And that may make an impression for them because they're coming from all over Northern California.
Yeah.
And they go, wow, oh, look at this.
What is an NCGA senior age wise?
I believe it's 50 and over.
50.
50, yeah, so something, I know, yeah, I'm way beyond that too, but. But yeah,
We had a guy in my foursome on Wednesday who was just pounding the ball and we all looked at him. He says, oh, how
Yeah.
old are you actually? He said, oh, I'm 60. Three of us all laughed.
yeah.
When did
Yeah.
that event take place, Mark?
That was, let's see, let me look at my. Senior event was on June 23rd. Yeah. We continue to get new items in the golf shop as we're starting to see some of the fall colors come in, new stuff coming in all the time. As you can see, it's been a good year in the shop. We'll try and keep that rolling. I think the golf course continues to play very well. We've got grass coverage right now into mid-July, better than we've ever had. Blake and I, whenever we meet, which is quite often, we talk about where we are. The watering is going well. Pumps did go down one day this week, but they cycled back up and are working fine. So we're in good shape there. I'm very happy with where we are as far as grass coverage. And the 2026 Mexico trip is out for those who have seen that. It's been a wild first week. In 1 week, we signed up 120 people for the trip. So we are well on our way to going to Mexico in February of 2026. So that's it from the management report. Any questions on that part?
Two questions. One regarding the Mexico trip. Rumor has it that you're planning on 2 airplanes?
No.
Or doubling my, is that? No.
No. I have, I anticipated, because the Maribel where we're going is where we were 3 years ago, and then they wanted to do more boutique, and they weren't doing just us, they weren't doing any large groups. And Tyler came to me when we were leaving on the plane this year and said, I think the Maribel's in play. I said, I'm in.
Do it.
Don't even give me an option. Maribel next year, we're in, we'll do it. And after coming back from the trip, I said, you may want to reserve a second week. So there is an option out there, if we ever got too big, that we may go to 2 weeks and have 2 different groups go back to back. So, but that is down the line here, not advertising it, obviously not even talking, sharing it here, but I don't know if we're ever gonna use it. We may just cancel, but that's how big I expect this site up to be. So we'll see how it goes.
120 on the first week, it tells you how big it's gonna be.
It's gonna be big. Yeah, a lot of people, it's gonna be quiet here that week. The 10th to the 17th of February.
Golf times will be easy.
Yes, golf times, there are those people here.
I noticed that pickleball is available now at Maribel.
It is.
Be interesting to see how many people sign up for the golf trip who aren't golfers, but do it because of pickleball.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
They don't have very many courts, and the reason I know is that the last time we were at Maribel, my room overlooked the tennis courts. I was in the backside,
Yeah.
and I was overlooking the tennis courts, and it was just
The pickleball courts are brand new. They are located on the way out to the, for those that have been there, to the beach park.
Yeah.
So that piece of property that's sat as you walk out to the beach resort part, inland there a little bit, there's that open land as you walk out. That's where they have brand new courts. I believe there's at least 4 of them there. So it should be, yeah, it's pretty nice. They've done a lot of remodeling and things that are gonna be upgrades for the hotel. So.
Yeah, I think that last year, there seemed to me to be a lot of non-golfers
Mhm.
signed up, said, hey, this is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And now with pickleball, there could be even more of that.
Yeah, however big group we take, about 2/3 is golfers. And then
Yeah.
there's another third that don't play, so. Okay,
My second question, Mark.
yes,
May-
sorry, yeah.
just quickly, are we experiencing any delay in deliveries, due to, clubs coming from China? Or wherever they come, Vietnam, with shafts and things like that?
Yeah, and not just
Starting to
clubs,
get
but
that?
not just clubs, but everything.
Everything,
Yeah,
so-
yeah, there are delays. I've got a couple companies that have been able to get me merchandise, and I have had to pivot to another distributor, mainly in my miscellaneous stuff, teas, things like that. They don't have it, so I've had to pivot to another distributor. So yeah, that stuff is going on.
I noticed the pegboard is missing,
Exactly.
plans and things.
Yeah,
It took a while to get this club, so.
Yeah.
Just one question on the guests or the guests that are coming in.
yes.
Nice increase, you know, do you find that is it mostly just, I'm sure it's mostly family kind of things, but have you seen any move for like a lot more outside people coming in on that? Cause that's a nice jump on having the guests coming in I'm assuming that's mostly on the weekend.
No, it can be weekday also. I mean, we have our regular guests and they discovered Rossmore quite a while ago and enjoy it. But we have, I think, more residents calling for their guests to come in and play. I think that program works well as far as the resident making tea times after 12 o'clock. I think the thing is, when they come and play here, they realize it's a nice place, it's fun to play, and they come back. You know, our retention is good. People don't come here and generally are disappointed. They come in and go, wow, this was fun, let's do it again. So I think it's very positive as far as the guest play. New ones are trying the golf course, they see it, they enjoy it, they want to try again. So that's good. Good feedback. Okay, superintendent's report, ready for that? I'm gonna start with something and hand this around, although I am also gonna distribute it. Let's just hand those around the table.
Mark, may I say something?
Yeah. Sure.
I didn't realize we were getting there. Okay, last month, it was the gal that came in about the issue with the broken teams on the Creekside course.
Yep, she's here today. Yeah.
So,
Hi, Robin. I didn't see who was behind it.
It's Mary, I didn't have a name, Mary.
yes, thank you.
Mary.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's here.
well, I noticed a lot of them on the dollar course. And picked them up and hardly any boxes at all on those tees. And,
That's made them on the.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. All right, okay, I'll wait then. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Let's defer that. We get.
all right, okay.
Okay, I can answer that then. I'll go to superintendent's report.
Okay,
Okay, so what I'm passing around, hopefully everybody's getting one there, is the schedule for 2026. As I said, I will also put this out in an email. But this is extremely important. It's one of the most important things you're gonna get the whole year, because I need you to take it back to your committees. Your tournament committees for scheduling for 2026 and make sure that those dates are not a problem. Blake and I put these together so you're well aware of when we're doing the greens on the Dollar and the Creekside. As you see, the Dollar are gonna be March 30th and also April 6th. That'll be the front 9 and then the back 9. And 13th is a backup in case the weather's whatnot good. The Creekside greens will be done on April 27th. And then the fall maintenance, as you can see, is there. These are pretty hard, fast dates. We're not moving these, okay? For the very good reason, this is how we take care of the golf course and keep it in good shape. So make sure these dates get back to your tournament chair people and anybody that's putting them together, because at least the last year or so, it has been last couple of years, we've had some conflicts or people wanting us to change it, or they were unaware, or I don't know how, but we want to make sure that each club has this information. Okay,
The dates, I'm not seeing it.
You have to read down the paragraph there. It says, after the opening paragraph, all ranch, nice.
Report?
No.
Oh, the one you
Yeah.
just passed out.
Well, I just passed it.
Okay, that's why I'm not seeing it. Okay, thank you.
Well, I just passed that. That's the dates for the aeration schedule. I'll go to Blake's report here and explain that, I'll take questions afterwards. The filtration system in our main pump station was replaced. It's a big project, to take the roof off and put the, filtration system in. It immediately changed the sound,
Mhm.
which was awesome. So we had a whirl going on, that you may or may not have heard. But when it was pumping, it would whirl up into a very high pitch, and that pitch is gone. So that was a good first thing that happened. The second thing that happened is they were actually able to put the building back together. Blake gave it a 50-50 chance because once the filtration, to get the filtration system in, they had to pretty much take apart a lot of the building. But they were able to, even though it's older structure, they were able to put it back together. We will have to do something with that building at some point, but it is right now, the housing is back on and steady. The greens were recently fertilized with an organic fertilizer at a very high rate. This fertilizer has many benefits for increasing growth. It was put on heavier than we wanted to. I'll just share that part. Staff misunderstood the instructions, so it's fine, but they really got to jump. So if they seemed a little bit bumpy or just like slow, it's because of that. It was just a little heavy. That'll be fine. It'll work its way into the soil. It probably already is better today than it was a week ago. But it went down a little bit heavier than we managed or wanted to. But that's if you've been experiencing a little slower greens for 10 days, that's why, but it will get better. We've completed our fertilization application on both golf courses. Take care of that. A lot of the broadleaf weeds are taken care of, hopefully there. One of the things that Blake and I have been talking about is the Monday golf course maintenance. We have been really in a tough place because this becomes a walking path and a bicycle path on Mondays. And it is getting to the point where it's a problem, getting work done. As he mentions here, we have people like looking at us like, what are you doing here? Well, we're maintaining the golf course. That's why it's closed. But there seems to be a little more and more conflict about this. And he is going to have some signs made that areas are going to now start being closed when we need to get work done. And the walkers are just going to have to deal with it because we are a golf course first and a walking path second. That may or may not, you may hear something or letters to the editor or people, but I think it's not only is it so we get work done, but it's for their safety. So anyway, we'll see where this goes, but we're going to try and let them know that the areas are closed and we're working. We have been very aggressive with tree trimming. You may have seen that we did the 7th hole on Creekside this week. Tree trimming the oaks along the creek there and did quite a bit, getting rid of a lot of excessive growth in those areas. We're putting more maintenance time into the sprinkler trimming. That has kind of been a priority of mine. I wanted to make sure we got that done, and he's taken that on, and they're getting more and more done, even though our staff is pushed pretty well on that. But it's coming along well, and that's important because that has a lot to do with the distribution of water and how well we do. To answer the question on the wetness on number 2, it could have literally been, although that area gets wet anyway, but it could have been just sprinkler heads not completely cleaned out, and so they need to trim around them so we get good, clean cuts, and then the water can distribute nicely. So we're working on that.
On number 2, follow up with that, there was a situation that was corrected where all that water was on the path all the time.
Yeah, from the last meeting, we did that.
Yeah, and the ground on the side of it where all the piping was, I suppose, that was leaking. It's been like that for a long time now. It's been for weeks. And is there any schedule as to what's going to happen there?
Yeah, they're going to keep working on that. We have several projects around the golf course we need help with, but we do not have a contractor right now. You would have seen a lot of things done. We have a problem up on the 6T dollar. We have some tree planting we'd like to have done. We have some other things that would normally be done at this time of year or would have been done in the spring. We've had nothing done from, we have outside contractors for some of this work. because we don't have one right now. We're working on getting that online and hopefully this fall we can get some of these other projects done. So,
We just assumed that since that leak was, repaired, it was done,
yeah,
but evidently not.
yeah, there's some more work to do. Yeah, our staff can really during the summer just take care of some main leaks. We had one in the 18th fairway on Monday. I don't know if anybody saw that, but we had a lateral line explode on the 18th, right about 30 yards short of the green. And we had a massive leak right there. It was a Monday though, so nobody really saw it, but we saw it and got out there and fixed it. We were able to fix that. But some things that we need to get done, just have to wait till fall.
You can't get a contractor, they're just not available or?
We've had the same contractor, Park Consultants, for many years. And what's nice about that is they know the golf course inside and out. They actually put in our sprinkler system. They actually have done, you say, hey, we got a problem at number 8. They know where number 8 is. So, it's great that they have that kind of knowledge and that kind of work and they know how we do jobs here. They haven't been available. They've been working another golf course for a lot of money down south, and so they're just not available, working on getting another contractor, and that will happen. And we'll get them online, and they're good. We just haven't had them doing work here before, so.
Okay.
Anything else on the golf course?
Oh, we were talking about this just as you came in,
Mhm.
about different areas of the golf course, but my mention was hole number 14. Apparently that was where the tree went down and now all the growth is growing up. So there's this huge right underline of the
Okay.
green.
I got a little list here from Kurt, and I'll put that on there. Number 14, I'll go look at it.
Whatever.
Very
Great, thank you.
We were kidding.
I don't know whether a tree or a bush, but they said.
When we talked about planting a few more trees, there's certain areas I want to put some. You know what I'm gonna say, like, I was, what kind of trouble I've been in? Put a 2-foot oak out there, right when that tree went down, that would probably be, that'd get somebody's attention. 14th hole,
So I may have misunderstood, but I think last time when somebody said that there was a sign that said dogs should be on leash on the 7th hole. And then-
dog should be unleashed on every hole.
In all of Roseville,
Yeah,
it is a
But-
Walnut Creek and a Rossmore rule.
I know that, but somebody said there was a sign, but I was looking yesterday, there's not a sign on 7. I don't know whether there's a sign.
It's on, when you go across the bridge,
Mhm.
right where the road is. So there's a sign there that talks about walkers are only allowed on Monday
Yeah.
and all dogs must be on leashes, right there. It's this big.
There's also a
Is it at the
sign,
road, you mean?
It's as you're coming off the road down the
Oh.
path. So when you're a golf cart, you're coming like this turning, you might not see it, but as they enter the golf.
Going
course,
that direction.
right, and also there's a sign, I think that has information on the practice area
Mhm.
here.
And number 11.
And number 11 and number 3. So there are signs around, not
Access
every
points.
entrance, but major access points that describe that information. Yeah, it's easy. If you play here every day, you probably don't see it because it's part of the landscape. That's the problem with signage. You see it the first time and then our minds just don't pick it up. That's why signage sometimes is really useless after a while. Yeah.
Mark, since you're talking about trees, I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, but on number 11 on Dollar,
Mhm.
the tree that is over towards the entrance of the tennis courts, it's starting to really overhang. I think what Alan was saying today is the only way to get around it is go under it or hit it off to the right-hand side way
Are
out.
we talking about the Buckeye trees?
Yes, no, this is not a buckeye tree. This is a big oak. Oh, it's hanging down over the path. It's
Okay.
where the mulch is put underneath
Yeah,
it and all
yeah.
that stuff there. That tree itself is just starting to really hang down.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. I
Trimming would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look at it. If it's a danger to limb fall or something like that, but every branch we have on some of those trees is a branch that might knock down a ball. So there are certain areas where I don't trim them for that purpose. That oak tree and those buckeyes, I'll never trim those most of the time because there's a chance of a ball going left. That's a branch that might save somebody.
Hmm.
So that's why they were there. I mean, not the oak tree, but certainly the Buckeyes, all along there. Leave 'em alone.
It used to be trees were 99% air. That's not true anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So, hey, just understand.
You're 10% accurate.
Yeah.
I will look at that, but there are trees on this property. I actually leave them alone because they are there for a different purpose. Yeah,
I'll let you.
just, yeah. we'll
So
look.
I look at that hole a little differently. I look at that hole as an opportunity to learn to shape my ball when I hit.
There you go.
And so I always look at it and say, I want to go past the tree and turn to the left and go up the fairway. And it doesn't always happen, but when it does, I feel really good because I actually wanted to do that. So, and then the other shot I try to do is on some days, which I did last Sunday, is I hit underneath it and went 220 yards, straight shot towards the green, towards the 150 marker, which was, it made me feel good too. So I actually liked the tree for a challenge.
How many paths did you run on?
No path. It went across the path and hit the green.
Gonna be very bad until you pickleball me.
But it could be a fun thing, is what I'm trying to say. You could use the tree as a fun,
It used to be fun hitting under the trees on 14.
yeah.
But when it did come down, it was like,
Yeah, I know.
Look at this.
High up there.
Yeah, one other minor thing. The netting that was on, said the fourth tee.
Yeah.
It needs a little repair. There's one stretch about this big that's
Okay.
left open.
Yeah, I actually,
Small spots
I've seen that. Yeah,
and a little,
there is, I saw one hole there that was, yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, there is no chief marshal's report today. There's no unfinished business, so let's move on to the meat of this meeting, the new business. First item is an update on the Dolly Rand restrooms. We have a punch list that's been provided to Mark. I just learned this morning that one of those items has been accomplished, the cleaning of the skylight on the first hall bathroom.
Well, it's happened in the last 2 days, that I didn't check it.
And you want to take this in, I guess?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
so thanks for passing that on.
sure.
So what happened since the list came forward is that the trust manager and the custodial manager, they toured everything, they added to the punch list. And so they kind of have a work plan to pretty much address everything that you've had on here, just so you know. So, you know, when it comes to like painting refresh, you may see, I mean, they'll try to do it around the times. They'll try to work with Mark.
Yeah.
Figure out the best times for the minimal use. They may wait to do that till it's later in the year. The golf course isn't quite as user friendly, but, we are working towards all those items.
That's great news.
I can,
So please keep reporting back.
and I want to thank you for passing it on, making sure it all happens. John Wraith talked to you this week, and the bathrooms on 1 and 10. We discussed it. We're gonna close one day, kind of make them unisex bathrooms for 1 day. He's gonna work on one and then do the one the next day. So he's already got dates. It's in August. Okay.
Okay, great,
Uh,
great news.
The question on that, is it feasible to add lighting in the bathroom on one, because there's no power in that building?
Yeah.
as far
Yeah,
as
so the issue is the power, and now do they all have skylights?
not all.
Does the one that you're
Both of
looking?
those bathrooms do.
Yeah, because we wanted to see what happens if we actually clean the skylight.
Yes.
Because sometimes that might help with the lighting, right? So they did that, so, yeah, so try to observe. And because really what would need to happen is adding skylight, because there's no power. And, you know, we're trying to figure out what's gonna be the most effective thing to do without getting into permitting and all that kind of stuff. But running electrical there would be a little bit difficult.
They do have solar portable lights in.
Hmm.
Okay, so anyway,
That I would say,
There is
John,
a light on the one, on 10. There is a light in there and there are windows, so it's a lot lighter.
Right.
And you're able to see.
I think the lighting is only on
Under dark, the switch was off. Somebody threw the switch and it made a difference, so.
So the doors don't close, fence, it's broken and on tan. And the ladies has the screens on the window that are all busted up, so. The
Well,
doors are
those
open
things should be
anyway.
on the list then.
It's on my list.
Oh, all
I sent
right,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
There,
it was a really good list.
Okay, well, really good to hear that you pass this on and that
Right, yeah, but keep,
things are
you know,
gonna,
keep me posted here, or, I mean, you really don't have to wait for the meetings here, you can,
Yeah,
You know,
just
just-
come to me and I'll
yeah,
talk to Ann and we'll,
we'll
yeah.
get it, we'll make sure that things are being addressed. What you're gonna be seeing with custodial and with facilities maintenance, who also kind of had a transition and just got fully staffed within the last year. They haven't been sequencing, it's been very, so this is a place where, Rossmore is a place where priorities were kind of based on the volume of complaint versus let's get into really good systematic routine scheduling. And that's a hard thing, right? But what you see is some places fall in disrepair because other things become a priority. So both the facility maintenance team and custodial, particularly with the tea houses, because they are a little bit off of the path of what they do. They, both teams admitted, yeah, that was kind of becoming a little bit of the, we're gonna make sure we get to it. But unless it's scheduled, it's easy, right? To go to the bottom of the list. So hopefully there'll be a catch up as well as the routine, the regular, like I don't want them to just power wash once and forget it. My request of them is I want to know what the power washing schedule is annually. Like how many times you're gonna do it and like and commit to those things. So we're trying to work differently with some of these processes. So there will be a catch up and then hopefully like maintaining and then hopefully get into improving.
That's great, yeah,
And
thanks.
how do you stand with, putting a maintenance log in the restrooms? We had discussed that.
Right.
And that was something that,
Right, so this is what we're doing. So let me talk about why that sounds like a good idea. But we're doing something similar, which isn't public facing. So we know right now, based on a rotation with custodians, they can only get out, they can get out there 2 times a day. They are scheduled to be out there 2 times a day. Hopefully, they're gonna be able to pop in if they do have time. But if any of you watched the board meeting where we did a custodial deep dive, at any time in the valley, we're lucky if we have 4 custodians covering everything. And so this became the problem, right? Because it's always about reservations and setups and room turnovers, and Lord knows there aren't enough people to do those. So what was happening? The tea houses were at the bottom of the list. So when we got this new position, one of the reasons we needed this new position, because we knew that would help us reallocate and to focus on some of the trouble spots, if you will. So restrooms are just notoriously difficult to always keep that standard because it takes that one person that's waiting because they want to go into a clean restroom and they go and destroy what you just cleaned, right? And so you got to wait for the schedule to come around for it to get cleaned. But what we did when we had this new hire, there was a rescheduling. Now, predominantly that person has taken off of the custodial team, in addition to doing the setups, the restrooms. So all she does is do all the hard, the hard restrooms, and she just rotates through those. And we have, I don't know, 200 toilets, and I mean, it's a lot that she has to maintain. What that did is it freed up the ability to have the other crew members assigned times to check the tea houses. Does that make sense? So it wasn't that person that's assigned to it, but it gave us more staff
Flexibility,
hours within a day to be able to make sure that we're on this. So then the reason why you have to sign them, because if we have something that's public facing, we're gonna get calls saying, oh, they didn't show up. And if we start getting those, but we're trying to manage this really thin resource, we're committed to getting there 2 times a day. They generally try to be like in the morning before everything opens, and then later in the afternoon, before the shift change. But there needs to be a little flexibility in that. And just what happens is like when we kind of make something front facing, managing staff, that becomes problematic because it's our job to do that. So what I'm going to ask is just a little bit of patience. Keep reporting back. Are you seeing improvements? Is it not enough? Because it's not really that they're not getting there. Part of it is we're assigning this within the resources that we have. So it's a service level, not a staff performance issue. Does that? And I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I can only stretch my 4 to 5 people per shift so far. So that becomes a different discussion, right? If it's like, well, we need more, if we need more frequency, whatever, that's actually more staffing than what we have now, and that becomes kind of a different discussion. So and then the other thing that's happening, we have like half of our team are new. And so as they become more efficient, it tends to open up more hours for them to go and do some of these things. And hopefully we can add the numbers of day where we're gonna go to the tea houses. But we know it's been consistent. They have been committed to doing them the 2 times a day, and I don't think they were doing them, because we've already seen a bit of an improvement.
Mhm.
Right, and it's incremental. I know it's not suddenly looking like the Ritz. But I think with the type of feedback we're getting in real, it's better for us to focus on what is the service you're not seeing, and let's address that, than how frequently is a person getting out there. But we're managing that part.
It would help understanding the time of day that they get there. Simply because if they go first thing in the morning, it's great because we're not playing out there yet. But if they go at the end of the day, that's useless. You know, it needs to be sometime mid between that and the end of the day. This way you can refresh or just take a look at cleanliness at that point. You know, at the end of the day is just, they're gonna be, the next morning it's gonna happen again, so do it again. So like midday would probably be.
I think that's what they're doing. I
If
can
they
confirm
can.
the times for you, but it's not the end of the day, because that would all be redundant to the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good if that's happening.
And I've introduced myself to the new person. What is her name? Sorry, huh? I know, I went blank. She's very nice.
Sorry.
I just want, she's very nice. Just wanted to.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay, very good. Second item, update on broken key collection box.
Well, I can speak to that. I've talked to Blake and had that note, and there's supposed to be one on the white and the red on each one. A box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've asked them to do that, make sure they're out there.
And do you have enough boxes?
We do. We do. I asked them to take inventory and do that. That should, if it's not already happened, it should happen very soon.
And when the tee boxes are mowed, does that also suck up any teeth, broken teeth that are on there?
Prefer it didn't, prefer they put them in the box, because that is a problem for the equipment. So that's one of the main reasons we have the boxes or want them to pick up their tees, because hitting a number of tees in a row with a very high tuned mower is not good for the mower. So as much as possible, those tees need to be removed.
Okay, so there's gonna be one on each, on both courses?
Yes, white and red.
Perfect. Okay. Ed,
On the tee box, and since we mentioned it at our last meeting, I started making it a little mission of picking up tees, but I put them in the box, the empty boxes that I saw.
yeah,
And as I go, I see that is accumulating more and more. And I think part of it is kind of a training thing that we need to talk to people about, is that you should drop these in here, but an empty box doesn't tell them anything. But if they see a box with 20 tees busted up in it, they think, oh, I better pick up my tee. And in the groups that I play with, I don't say anything to anybody, but I do pick up the tees and put them in there. And now all the people in my group are picking up extra ones too, and putting them, just dropping them in the box when they walk by. So, or in the trash can, because they're not exactly a box on every one of them. But they're starting to do it now, and I think we just need to, everybody just kind of make that part of our thing of picking them up. And if you see an empty box and some tees, you just want to do is add a few to it, not then all of a sudden everybody else wants to jump in the game.
It really is
They
just the
really
same
don't
thing as fixing the ball marks
Yeah.
and putting the ball repair tools out. It's the same category.
Yeah.
Take care of the golf course.
Yeah.
It's in the same, replace your divots, rake the sand traps. It's really the same type of maintenance thing in your mind. How can I make the golf course better and take care of it? And that's in that same place. Yeah.
so, let's make this an issue for the 4 club representatives when they go back and report to their boards to please somehow spread it out to the membership. Just take a second, pick up some tees that you see, and certainly any of your own, put them in the box, and if everybody starts doing that, It's the same, you're right, exactly like fixing the ball marks on the greens, so
Yeah, I'll make sure it's in one of our articles coming up too.
perfect, yeah.
I just made a note, so.
For the Niners on Thursday morning, more people play from the gold than from the red. So is it possible to have boxes on the gold, on the Niners, on the?
I don't know about that.
Mm.
I'll be honest with you. It's just, you know,
Maybe on the red and the gold, because the red and the white are closer together than the gold and the red.
yeah.
Just an idea.
They're not gonna walk to another tee box to do it, you know, they look for it right on the tee box they're on.
Yeah,
So-
understood.
Um,
So it's in the works to use the wooden boxes
Yeah.
that have been built.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, the ones that are still out there are damaged too.
Mhm.
And, you know, obviously
Mm.
there's some shit by the machinery.
They don't last forever.
Yeah, it would.
My thought was, could we replace those already in the works, but replace them with some other type? Obviously not metal, that's gonna rust, right? But I don't know, some other,
Those
Just
were
do the whole
made by those were made by the wood shop
I know, they
and
made the
donated.
shop.
And that's great. That's a great way to do it because there's absolutely no cost there.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we could talk to them. and see
We'll,
what
we'll
this
work
is.
with this. for a little bit, then, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. We need a motion to appoint Tom Stinson as the sixth golf course marshal with effect from August 1. Somebody make a motion?
So moved.
Oh, second.
All in
I don't
favor?
know the man.
Tom Stinson?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Right, that is done. Now the charter review issue. Consider making a recommendation to the policy committee to adopt the revised charter. I can just say that I had a meeting with Deborah Rose regarding this, and there's two changes that have been proposed. First is to where in item 3, if anybody has the charter in front of them,
Mhm.
says that the RWC president shall designate one of the committee members as chair and serve a 1-year term on July 1st each year as approved to the RWC president. According to Deborah, this is a non-starter. The GAC committee, our committee is essentially a child of the board, of the RWC board. And it's within the purview of the board, RWC board, to do this kind of things, not really up to the committee. So, okay,
I have a
but
comment on that if you.
it's something, if we want to send this forward, we have to vote on it. But that's what we're just talking about, so go ahead.
Well, my comment is simply that it is approved by the president. We are approving it locally here and then sending it on to the president for approval. That's the way we revised that to read. And, what does the president of the RWC board know about the individuals here who serve as chair?
Well, because they interview them before they get onto the committee to start with.
Well, yeah, but they still left it to the board, to the representatives of that interview, process to give that recommendation. Not to be the chair, but to be a member.
Okay.
Okay,
So the board, the RWC president knows who the people are that are on the GAC committee, right?
really? I don't know.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Yes, they should have interviewed.
They're interviewed.
And, I mean, you two just interviewed me, Ted and you.
What?
Ted and you interviewed me to be on this committee.
Right?
Well, that,
And
there's the president.
Pat and
Ted.
you interviewed me.
But aren't you saying that the RWC president knows who we are?
Yeah.
I don't. know.
That knows who I am.
I think it's simply to say, it makes, to me, it makes a lot of sense to say, look, we know who we are here. We know who's operating best amongst us. Who do we want to be our chair? Then take that person and present it to the board. And if the board says yay or nay, or I wanna meet that person, is fine, that's fine. But it goes to the board for final approval regardless, but we know who that person could be.
I also believe that I understood from Deborah that this language as it currently is in the charter is the same for all of the advisory.
Doesn't make them right.
Doesn't make it right, excuse me. Throwing that out as a.
Well, that's why I'm talking about it, because, you know, it does, you know, for Deborah to say it's a non-starter, to me, I don't wanna be rude, but that's ridiculous. Nothing's a non-starter. I mean, that's how these things are created in the first place. But, you know, we should have some clarity to it, or some.
So how do they decide who's gonna be the new president? What's their,
They amongst themselves, they vote the president, right? Yeah. The board votes its own president. See, so the board decides. So it's just like us decide. Amongst this little board. Well, I'm suggesting.
The committees are underneath the RWC board.
Mhm.
The RWC board is the one who will designate who is going to be in charge of the meeting. And then at the meeting level, let's say this meeting, so we would make the decision on who is going to be in charge of that meeting. But at this level here, you pick your own vice chair, your own secretary, so on, out of the groups. And that's the way it's done on every single committee. But the board has control of who they want to be in charge of those committees, and that person is going to be reporting back to the board on what is going on.
Which is what we're saying too. We're just saying, we think that Burke would do the best job. We'll present Burke to the board to represent the GAC.
But the position is not, so the committee people that are put on the committee in this particular one are from the clubs. You are, you know, we don't have any control over the people who are put on this committee because that's brought forward by the clubs. But the person in charge of the committee,
That's not true. The board gets a recommendation by the
Yes.
club of who the club would like to have.
yes,
And the board approves that person, so the board does approve who's on from the.
and I'm not sure they've ever said no to any of those.
Why?
You know, it's we go by what the clubs want to do on that particular position. But the one that's running the meeting that has to report, and this is aquatics, this is any of the other, this is finance, this is all the other meetings that we have. That the person in charge of the meeting is appointed by the RWC board.
I don't know what else to say. I don't agree with it.
The second item that is, under purposes and responsibilities, currently says that the GAC committee shall provide statistics to the RWC board on a regular basis, documenting the number of residents and guest rounds played, and additional report, regarding the rounds played, season card sale, driving range, golf lessons, et cetera, et cetera. The proposal is to change that where it says GAC committee shall provide the statistics to the director of golf shall provide the statistics to the RWC. In fact, what happens now is that the director of golf is providing the statistics to this committee. And this committee, even though, you know, this packet of information goes directly to the RWC board, that's coming to us, and we are in fact sending it further on to the RWC board. And one of our jobs is to look at the statistics that Mark provides each month. And if we see, for instance, if we say, oh, golf shop sales for the last couple of months are going down, that's something we ought to talk about. And we would then mention that to the RWC committee, a board, when I report on a monthly basis. So
You don't know.
I do.
Yeah.
There's
So
never
here's the
any-
issue. You receive the statistics from staff. You present it saying, we're presenting these, that's basically we're accepting them as presented, or these were presented and we have concerns about performance in these areas. it's a good point where if there were like resource needs and whatnot, that's where those conversations start. But that, it draws a line between, it's,
The suggestion was simply to put in the GAC, what kind of read the committee? I just said /
yeah.
director of golf.
I think it's implied though, like any director, if the committee chair, if there's not a committee rep there, will step up. I've done it for aquatic and fitness before. I've done it for planning committee. So,
Okay, so just
yeah,
semantics.
So, what are we doing? We submit this as is? Ignore it, that's the way it is.
I guess we have to make a motion.
Get a vote on it, so.
I'm not sure where Jeff Matheson fits into this. If we make pass a motion to forward this to the policy committee, I was told that Jeff Matheson has to talk about it.
at the policy committee. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
if you felt, I mean, if you really felt compelled, like you think this is a deal breaker, but I kind of want to echo again that all of these groups, they're advisory to the board. So it's really important that the board, they select a person, they identify the person that they want to be able to make sure that they're holding responsible to the policies, procedures and whatnot. So there's a lot of autonomy here, right? There's a lot of work and exchange and stuff that will never get to the board. Like, I mean, I think you're really good about reporting. Oh yeah, we sent a punch list to, to Mark to look into things, but the board's not gonna get into operation of they're doing that stuff unless they hear a lot of complaints, right? So it's really reporting back stuff, but when it comes to but what can't happen is, and where they really need somebody that's gonna understand and and check in, have that relationship with the board saying, and really having the relationship with Leanne, who's the current president right now, to say, hey, these things are coming up. Are these things that we should deal with? Are these things that we should bring to the board in another level? Kind of like service levels, right? So we're talking about the cleaning of the tea houses. So this is a great conversation to have here, because on this level, we can figure this out. But if suddenly it was, no, but we want to know, we want to make sure we can get somebody every hour, that's something kind of different. And that's really not committee, that's actually a board conversation. And so that's something that the president would have to talk to the chair to say, well, how do we bring forward as a service level issue? Because service level equals change to the budget. So it's really kind of a relationship that's been established with all the committees, which is why I'm not sure. I don't know what happens if you vote, no, we want to move it forward. I don't know if it's a meeting. I don't know if it goes directly to the policy committee or if there's some interim meeting, but it's not, but it's for you to take all that information into play and then decide how you're gonna vote. But I just need to say that piece.
I'm one for, you'll never get change unless you try. And, but after looking at this a little closer and hearing what you have to say, it's a control issue by the board. They're not gonna change. That's how they control all the clubs. It's a control issue.
well, it doesn't even,
It's been.
we're
it's-
not
it's-
sending to the board,
Not clubs.
we're sending it, at least the way this is, we would be sending it to the policy committee.
Yeah.
I mean, never
Fine.
even get beyond the policy committee, so. We can do it, but I mean, somebody could come up with a motion.
I
we could
certainly,
vote on.
I'll weigh in just a little bit here. I certainly understand Pat's point about, recommending a chairman. I get that and wanting to have some say. I think you ostensibly do already and always have had. I don't think the board has ever, oftentimes they've asked either me or the committee beforehand, who do you think would be good? So they're looking for information that comes along anyway. We get asked. If there's a recommendation or thing, or let me put it this way, if there is a feeling on either one of those that we'd be improving what we're doing, or that you feel you're being slighted or not getting that say at the current time, it might be worth saying something, but I think the committee has worked fairly well over the many years we've had it, and we're lucky to have this committee to talk about golf, and we can solve so many of our issues on this level. I don't know if either one of these gets us any more sway with the board or changes our ability to communicate with them. We've got Ted right here or any other representative that's represented over the last 30-something years. They've always been pretty open with listening and cooperating with what we need and what we need to have. So I don't know. If you really feel like one of these is gonna get you something that you want to have into the way the committee works or that you're heard, fine.
What about the converse part of that? What if in fact, hypothetically, sorry, Burke all of a sudden goes off the deep end? Almost there. However, and everything starts to happen, just falls apart, goes into shambles here. Does the board then get involved and say, we're gonna get rid of Burke? We're gonna
I mean, it's not quite like that. I mean, the board has.
I'm being blunt, but
I think they have a process to work with,
Yeah,
with the committee members, board members, if they're not working within policy.
I would even go so far that if sorry, Burke, if Burke loses it tomorrow,
'Cause we don't-
if that would happen, I think the board would listen to, I would say the first people that would see it would be us. And we'd be the ones that bring it to the board, and I bet you the board would comply and take that information and go, yeah, we probably need, so again, I think the grassroots of the committee would still be there because the board would listen. Don't you think that?
Sure, and that's why we have a vice chair too.
That's what
The vice chair is the person, if there is a situation, whatever it would be,
As-
the vice chair then takes over. And then at that point, we probably would have to go through an interview process and everything again.
the 25th Amendment.
And to bring. Or you're getting beat up here. So
We
so,
love you, Burke.
yeah. But there is a system in place for that. The vice chair would then take over in the interim until we found a person to either replace it, or the vice chair would then be asked maybe by the board, can you step into this position? And there'd be some adjusting around, who knows? It could be one of the, in this particular subcommittee, it could be one of the people who are sitting here right now wants to move into that position, and then that club would have to find another position, a person to represent the club who would have to be presented to the board to say, here's who we want to have. So it's just a shuffling of positions, but we do have safeguards in place already. I don't know if that really answered it, but that's.
So, I'm not gonna propose anything. Do you wanna, what do you wanna do?
Well, we need to take a vote of whether or not we want to change it. That's what we're here for. If we say no, then
I think if we're gonna vote on something, we need to have a motion and we need to decide what's that motion going to say?
Oh, it would be
make a motion to
forward the recommended changes.
proceed with the changes that are recommended to the committee.
Does everybody have a copy of this with red line?
Number 4 is already in effect with all committees.
What's it say?
The one is the
No.
GH. Oh, where they're
No, it's
asking to
fine.
add the director of golf. I've seen Ann Matola step up on different things. I've seen Ann Peterson step up when somebody is mentioning something that is on her preview and she stepped up. I've seen Mark do the same thing, come out of the audience and come down with an extra
Sure.
question that has to be answered. That is already being done. I mean, to put it in here is kind of redundant because it already happened.
And the other issue is it can't become staff work, it's committee work.
I can see that.
That blurs that.
I can see that.
That's really the core of that.
It's just the one about whether or not we,
Number 3.
So it's only number 3 that we're talking about? Not the other order. Do you want to
I make a motion that we proceed with the revisions to the charter for the Golf Advisory Committee. Paragraph number 3 as amended. That the
Getting all this?
Eventually,
that the committee choose its chair and provide that
As a recommendation.
the recommendation to the RWC for RWC president's approval.
No, it goes, gotta go to the policy committee.
No?
It has to go to policy committee.
Well,
Well, all right.
okay, I'm
Want
sorry.
to Short circuit
No,
the
excuse
whole
me.
process.
Excuse me. I was saying that what the thing reads, not that the process is. I'm saying what the changes will read. That's my recommendation, that we change that to read. Okay? Now, the process is something different. Then we would send it on to the policy committee or
Yeah.
however that's.
So what, what's the motion again? Because he's gotta write it down.
So is the motion that you want to proceed with? You want to
Changes made in-
recommend this moves forward to policy with changes in number 3 only?
yeah, our motion is, if the motion is submit the document with our changes.
Yeah,
And
but
yeah,
not,
change.
not change not the change.
We don't care where it goes.
All right, you got it?
So that's the motion.
You're clear?
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
I made the motion. Anybody want to second it? If not,
Anybody want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay, all approved. I like to see
Can we have,
hands.
we have one more discussion?
What's, oh, even with further discussion?
Yeah.
Sure.
The reason I do is because I think it's important for us to find out what the board's process for electing or getting a president is. They haven't told us that,
But what's,
like what the board's process for getting a president. I mean, who do they go to? What, how do they get people that are nominated and so forth? Do we know that?
I
They
think that's so every, yeah,
they
so
advertise for positions that are available on this committee. They advertise this for over a month. I think it was in the newspaper every week.
Mhm.
And people,
Yeah.
responded to that. They asked me, I responded to it. And those people who responded were interviewed. And that's the
Yeah.
process.
Committee was formed to interview
Yeah.
those people.
In on that,
Well, it was all in the paper,
yeah.
all laid up on the paper.
Okay.
So, in favor, let's see hands, please. Opposed? Oh, wait, are you, what are you doing?
I raise my hand. Yes.
Yes, okay,
Who's he, yes or no?
who's a yes?
Let's go back to yeses.
Who's in favor, please? All right, and who's opposed?
3.
Damn it.
Well, we're stuck because we only have
That means-
6
yeah.
voting members here.
Yeah.
So,
so
this, I would say then that as for unfinished business, it goes on to next month's
and
agenda.
can I make a recommendation too?
Of course. you can.
Because I don't know if, because this is a, public meeting with all of our election politics. I don't know if there's some specific issue or something that maybe you could just speak more plainly, colorfully, like in a room. Like if you really want to talk it through with Jeff and Leanne, I recommend you do that. If they try to gain some clarification. But if you want to try to coordinate that between now and the next meeting, I think that might be helpful.
Short circuit the process.
I know, so, but this is what, but I will talk about this. This is what happens when things go to policy. So Mark's gonna have to put a report together and talk about substantially why we need to change this. And we don't, I don't know about you, but I'm not really certain of the why.
Mhm.
Well, we say Mark has to do this?
Yes, staff has to, because we staff these committees. So for instance, I have committees that want to change policy process, and I have to bring it to the policy committee. And I just had it when I brought it there and it looked like it was going forward, and then another group from the club came and it was like more club rules, okay? they want staff work. They want people to they want to understand the body that has to make these decisions. They want to understand why, like, what is the why for the policy change? Like, what does this change? So we're gonna have to talk about how we may have to say about how this pretty much is not in alignment with policy that's been requested as it stands right now. Like, I'm still not understanding the substantive why.
The why, we already talked about. The why is that we want to control who's our chairperson in this committee. And the policy says somebody else will do that.
Right,
which is
because it's a,
important.
because it's the board, because it's the board's, because you exist, because you're the board's advisory committee.
That's not, the question was, is that why do we want to do this? And that's why, because we want to have more control over who's the chairperson.
I just want a clarification is that Mark has to prepare this report. And I didn't understand it. Shouldn't we prepare this report? Mark is included in the we. You know, you're designating it again to a non-voting person on the committee.
But that is the process. That is the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just-
You can offer it. You can, like, I always ask for content from the different parties that you have to present it. But as staff, we have to say they're asking this, because the true presentation is the committee is asking for this, which is currently in conflict with our policy. So we have to actually package it in the context of we staff this body, but we serve this other body. We're in the middle of divorced parents that are like out in a separation. We don't know what's going on.
And that's really
We
what I
have to
was,
balance it.
that's really what I was trying to say when I brought forward my
Yeah.
comment, which is if you really think you're gonna gain some traction with this, or you want some difference, then go ahead, but
Yeah. I mean,
is there
obviously
something
they
really
need
wrong
that.
with what's happening?
Well,
What you have to ask yourself.
Since we have 3 votes either way, what if we say that we would vote to forward it to RWC staff? I mean, is Jeff considered RWC staff?
Yeah.
For further review or for
For discussion.
consideration?
Question or clarification.
This committee to do that.
No, we would have it, I'm talking about doing a different motion. So that you're not sending something to the policy committee, you're basically saying, all right, some people on this committee want to do this, they can go to the RWC staff in the position of Jeff and talk to him about it.
Because some of the questions are gonna be like, oh my God, are they not happy with Burke? Like Burton and Burke has been an exceptional chair, certainly from where I sit. You've been a great, bias, I know that you were elected by the peers here in this room. But this is a really solid committee, right? So, and I don't know, I haven't been here long enough to know the history. I don't know if this is recent, stable,
Oh, we've
going
had-
through this stuff.
Yeah, Pat Kelly, John McDonald, Ben Wisner, right down the line over the last 30 years. All
They're really good,
wonderful
right?
people to
Yeah.
work with, all of them.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a question, like what, really is like, what is the issue that we're trying to address and correct? Control is weird because you don't have control. You're an advisory group to the board, right? And and I know that's weird, and it's a matter of
It's
choosing.
not our control, it's the board's control. That's how the board controls the committees.
Well, we can't forward this to anybody because we haven't approved or disapproved it.
I think you table it till next month and
If we
see.
table it to next month, we have at least a.
Yeah.
Comment.
Yes.
Just wanted to mention one of the reasons I voted against this, and Pat, I totally see your point, and I'm not in disagreement with it. However, I also see it from the other side in that there has to be a consistency in all the committees and all the advisory committees.
Mm.
And I can see that they cannot have one committee operating different from another committee. And so as much as I see the reason behind it, I really don't think it's ever gonna happen because they're gonna wanna keep the charters consistent throughout all the advisory committees. That's my comment.
If we had Jeff here at the next meeting, that would be helpful. he's gonna be able to have discourse much more, like educated, informed, just because he's been through lots of different things.
I think Jeff was
With-
always invited to the meetings, of course,
Okay.
if that makes any, difference, great.
Yeah.
Just to answer Kurt, I mean, start somewhere, that's my point.
I don't just,
It may be that we're the revolutionaries and all of a sudden all the committees are gonna be changed because of what came up.
But why wouldn't you
Maybe
want
not.
to have a conversation with the board president and the general manager? Like
Like,
just having like a normal conversation, because sometimes things are more organic in those environments to understand. Yeah, and that's what I was recommending, like if you try to do something like that before the next meeting.
Speak with either one or both. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
We could coordinate. just
Yeah,
facilitate
yeah,
it.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Between now and the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did that leave us?
Let's table it and get back to it next month.
Okay.
And in the interim, we're gonna try and get a meeting together.
Okay, we'll, put
The
this
motion
forward.
did not pass.
It did not pass. Let's just put this on to unfinished business for next month. Is there anything else? Meeting is adjourned and we'll meet next month on August 8th at 9 PM in this room. Thank you very much.